So episode 7 of Survivor, we saw Henry's successful decapitation of the power couple of Sarah and Mark is not happy about it in this one. He says revenge is very important and he's out for blood. But as we saw in the episode, blood he did not get. For reasons that we'll delve into in a bit. Let's just cover Pink Tribe because they didn't end up going to Tribal Council, but we see in that Tara and Lockie are trying to convert Ziggy over to their side. Will they succeed in bringing her over or not? Who knows? It really depends on whether Ziggy feels that it's in her, like who is the bigger threat? Is it Tara, is it Lockie, or is it AK? AK is certainly a threat, but then so is Tara and so is Lockie, so I guess it just depends on which one she thinks helps her games more in terms of who's going to be voted out. When they were talking to her, they didn't really seem to make very good arguments. They're just, why are you working with someone that you can't trust? Look, nobody trusts anyone in Survivor. You should make arguments as to why it's in her best interest to get rid of AK before either of them. But for Ziggy's own sake, I hope that she doesn't side with them, because immediately after them all talking to her, Tara says to the camera, if she does switch sides and come with us, I'm not going to be keeping her around for very long anyway.
She could flip for me. I wouldn't keep her on my alliance long because I feel that she will just do what she has to do to get through.
So Ziggy's probably better taking the two of them out first. But AK is very strategic, no doubt about it. He's packed so much action into all these episodes and we're not even halfway through the show yet. He's great to have on TV. I know a lot of people don't like him, but the show would be a lot more boring if he wasn't around. Everything he does is strategic. Even after Lockie kills the shark with the machete and he's there at the tribal, he's the one who says and tells Jono and all the rest of them, yeah, Lockie killed a shark with a machete. That's a strategy in itself because he's signaling to the people in the other tribe that Lockie's a threat. That's why I like AK. Everything he does has a reason behind it. But they went on to win immunity due to winning the pillow fight mud wrestling challenge. It was pretty awesome to see the Survivor girls doing a combination of mud wrestling and pillow fights at the same time. But losing, of course, meant that Mark's head is now on the chopping block because he's the other half of the power couple. Mark goes into full interrogator mode on Kent, but Kent stands his ground. He doesn't give up Henry, he doesn't give up Jackie, and he doesn't get intimidated either, so good on you, Kent. But of course, Loose Cannon Luke has very different plans, and this was really fascinating. He says, Mark basically comes up to me and says, what should I do? And he just lays out this whole plan of what he should do. Break up the new power couple, which is Henry and Jackie, and take out Jackie just like they took out Sam. And Mark loves this idea. It fits with his idea of revenge and eye for an eye. And if Luke had just left it at that and had let Mark to go out and talk to different people to recruit, I think that move would have been genius. But unfortunately, Luke overplayed his hand here. See, he was being the puppet master here. He was using Luke and he gave him the plan. He gave him the ideas of what to do, but then he was the one who went out and said to everybody, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. I think that's a bad idea because now Luke has played his hand and everyone knows he's the one behind this plan. If he could just set Mark on that course and sort of talk to everyone of like, oh, Mark is talking about going after Jackie. What do you guys think? Do you think we should do this? Like present it as Mark's idea, not yours, and let Mark do the recruiting for it. That way, if it fails, you don't get your head put on the chopping block as a result. If it backfires, it won't come back on you because everyone thinks it's Mark's plan. This is something that we have not seen a huge amount of in Survivor, which I would like to see more of. People getting other people to do their dirty work for them.
When I want someone dead, I never grease them myself. You know, I always talk someone else into doing the deed for me. I make them believe the person I want dead is their enemy. That way the kill can't be traced back to me.
That's so cool.
But ultimately, Luke's plan did not work. He did not succeed in getting the numbers that he needed because he didn't convince Sarah and he didn't convince Odette. And I think, particularly, or Ben either actually, and I think with Odette and Ben, the reason he didn't convince them is he made the same mistake that Sam made, which is ironic because when he was talking to Mark, he told him, look, the reason she went out is because she just decided who needed to go, and then she'd just tell everyone who needed to go and she wouldn't discuss it with anyone. And then he turns around and does the exact same thing in this episode and has the same same lack of success that Sam had. He just sort of ropes Ben in and like, oh, this is what we're all doing. You're all in with that? Yeah, you're good with that? Yeah, good, whatever. Yeah, let's go. So Ben's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I mean, of course not. And Odette, when he went up and talked to Odette, he's like, okay, we've changed to Jackie. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? Why has nobody told me about this? So if she feels like she's the last one to know, why is she going to go along with it? And she doesn't go along with it. He spent more time on Sarah trying to convince her, and she obviously did wrestle with the idea, but ultimately she wanted Mark out as well. I think everybody realized Mark was a major threat. But the fact that Luke was unable to read that terrain, was unable to read that, does show a weakness in his social game, whereas his rival Henry, the fact that he had an immunity idol and he knew they were going to target Jackie but he didn't play it, indicates to me that he successfully read the terrain, that the vote was going to go his way, which tells me he's a little bit more socially savvy. So in a future showdown between Luke and Henry, I think Henry will win and Luke will go home. Ben did predict in this episode that Luke will eventually destroy himself. But I don't know, maybe Henry just didn't play the idol just because he wanted to keep it for himself. That's totally possible too. But based off how he has now successfully taken out first Sam and then Mark, I think it's safe to say Henry understands what's happening in the tribe. He's got his finger on the pulse there. I also think the reason the vote didn't go the way that Luke wanted it to go was when he spoke to Sarah and some of the others. Like, I mean, he's got Jericho and Michelle, they're pretty tight as a three, but he really sort of had to sell it with Sarah. But he sold it to her as, this is what I think is a good idea, these are the reasons why it's a good idea. Like I said before, you gotta pitch it to people as, this person that I want out is actually a threat for you. It will be in your best interests to go after this person. Like, he should have gone to like Sarah and Odette and come up with something like, if you two girls were like sitting next to Jackie at the final three, she'd probably win because she's got the whole girl power thing, which you guys have got, but she's also like the mum of the tribe. Everybody loves her, so you're not going to be able to compete with that. So she's a real big threat to you other girls, so it might be in your best interest if we went along with what Mark wanted to do to get rid of a threat for you now so you don't have to worry about it later. Like, I think presenting it in that way, whereas this would be a good move for your game, would be better than saying, here's my idea, I think it's great. But as time goes on, I'm starting to think more and more that Sarah is going to be the one to win, because vote after vote, she always seems to be the swing vote in the middle. And as I mentioned in the previous video, that is a very powerful survival strategy, because no one wants to vote out the person that they all need to bring over. So being the middleman can be dangerous because you're not in an alliance, you're not like locked into one, but in other ways it's more freeing. It makes you more safe in a way because you're adaptable. You can go whichever way the tide is flowing and you can outlast. It's outwit, outplay, outlast. And I think Sarah probably will outlast because all the big players are sort of taking each other out. Everyone's like, that's a threat, that's a threat, that's a threat, taking them out. And they need Sarah to take them out. People like Sarah as well. So she's going to last quite a long time, I think. I am Bandit, this is Bandit Strategy. Until next time, I will see you guys in the comments.